Well, all the hard work has finally paid off. Look at this. The garage is done. It's finally finished. I can now get a car in here. Is it perfect? No, not by a long way. Is there still things that need doing? Yeah, of course there is. There'll always be something that needs doing, and I'll give you a quick look around in a couple of minutes or so. But for now, though, we're here. We're in an empty garage waiting to be filled, which is a bit ironic, really. I've spent all this time working on the garage to empty it and make it look better. And the first thing I'm going to do with it is fill it by putting a car in here. But that's what garages are for. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. And it's all down to the support of you lot. All you lot out there watching this, male, female, children, grandparents, doesn't matter who you are, whoever you are, that are watching all of the videos that I've put out, subscribe to the channel and supporting the channel by becoming members, buying me a coffee or joining the Patreon. Every single one of you has helped to support me and promote me getting further with this and give me the enthusiasm to get on with it and get it done. Has it been easy? No, not at times. It's been really hard. Putting the roof on was unbelievable when I did that. I have no clue. Remember that. I have no clue as to what I'm doing. I have no training in putting a roof on anything at all. I have no idea about building some kind of shed or some kind of cupboard or anything like that. Absolutely no idea at all. I've just watched a few YouTube videos when I was doing it and made the rest up as I was going along. And it's all ready, done, and we can now move forward. So I'll give you a quick tour of the garage, the way it is at the minute, before we start getting cars in here, or a car in here. So this is roughly me stood in the middle of the garage. Now go around, you can see the back wall there, the boarded up window. There's that wall all the way down the side of there, toolboxes, more toolboxes, shelf unit. There's the front door of the garage, which the cars will come in and go out of. There's a wall there, obviously the door to get in and out of the garage, another shelf unit, and the complete chaos that is the workbench at the moment. So there's still loads to do, but we're in and we're dry. And the best thing about it all is I'll be able to get more content out for you guys, because now I'm not weather dependent on what I can do with the cars outside in the drive. If it's a nice day, like it is today, it's absolutely gorgeous outside today, which was really strange after the weather we had yesterday. But if it's a nice day outside, I've got all the cars outside in the driveway on the front of the garage there that I can do some work on. If it's horrible weather or it's freezing cold or soaking wet, there'll be a car in here that I can work on in here. So you'll still get to see the content going on that way. So the weather is no longer going to be a restriction on how much content comes out. People milling about in the street outside, children, stuff like that, playing in the street. That's not going to be a bit of a hindrance into any content that can come out now. Obviously, you've got to be careful these days what you do and don't film in the background. So that's a major move forward, is to have a car in here so I can film in here regardless of what's going on outside. Hopefully it'll dumb down the noise a little bit. Any of the neighbours that are out through the summer that are mowing their lawn or having a barbecue or a party or something like that, hopefully the noise won't be too infective in here and I can film in here and get that done. But there's still loads to do in the garage. Have a look at some of this. Now the walls at the minute are a bit bare. As I've said previously, the previous owner of the house built this garage, and he built it for a purpose, and obviously it is just a purpose-built building. It's here to keep a car in and work on a car in, but the walls have suffered a little bit. It looks as though he's previously painted all the walls white, which would be a brilliant idea to do that. However, through time, the paint's flaked off, it's washed off when the rain's been coming down. There's a bit of mildew over here that you can see. That's got to be taken care of, but it just needs a quick scrubbing. But I will be painting the walls. Now, while I was messing about and getting stuff out of here, I did discover a tin of paint there. There's a tin of paint at the back there. And down here, there's actually 2 tins of paint in there. 2 big tins of paint in there. Now, I've no idea what colour they are. Possibly there's a white one in there. The small one, the first one I showed you, I think that looks like magnolia. And if I'm right, I think the 2 big tins on the lower shelf, I think they're both magnolia as well. Now, obviously, I was always planning to paint the walls. Hadn't quite decided whether I was going to cover them with anything. I'd put some plywood to them or some OSB board to make it look a bit better and then paint that. Or if I was just going to go and paint the bare walls. Well, I want as much space as I can possibly have. So I think rather than putting any kind of covering on the walls, all I'm going to do is crack those tins open, stir the paint. If it's still okay, I'll use that, whatever colour it is, and I'll paint the walls with that, as long as it's a light colour and not a dark colour. I think the darkest really that you can go in a garage and still have it workable so you can see what's going on and make it nice and light and airy is like a light grey. But I think, as I said, one of those tins at least is white, and I think the other's a magnolia. So I'm actually going to have a magnolia garage. Not that I'm renting it out or selling it or anything like that, but I am going to have a magnolia garage. Now, there's also the roof that I put on. Now, as you can see, all these panels that are on the roof, It's just the joists that are put in or replaced, these noggins that are put in, and then it's just a metal panel. That's all there is. On the other side of that, what is it, 2-3 millimeters possibly, is the sky, the outdoors. So there will be some insulation coming in here. We'll have to put some insulation in here because obviously it needs to be a little bit warmer in the winter, because this isn't going to keep it warm at all. But there's no hurry for the insulation going in. We're into spring, so we're just getting into spring. Summer's going to be here quite shortly. Hopefully it'll warm up enough, and it will be like an oven in here. I did do some little bits and pieces in here last summer, and believe me, it was like an oven in here. So it's going to be nice and warm in here. I may have to leave the door open and get some air blowing through just to cool it down a little bit. So there will be insulation coming at the roof. That'll come at a later date. Now, even though I do have lights, I think you can see there's a light above me there. That there is a strip light. Now, even though there's lights in here, those lights don't work. When the roof was off, obviously they're getting wet, and then the wiring connections inside wherever the wiring is running through the rafters of the roof, it's actually caused the fuse box to blow a fuse when I turned the lights on. So there's no lights in here at the minute. There is power. I have 2 sockets, so as long as it's daylight in here, I will be able to carry on with seeing what I'm doing with the cars. And other than that, I can get some plug-in work lights or some spotlights or something like that until I get round to getting some lights fitted up properly so I can see what I'm doing and make this into a proper garage. Now, hopefully you can still see me, but this here is the full length of the garage, 22 foot, as I said in a previous video. Where you're stood at the minute, you're resting against the up and over door at the very front of the garage, and I'm stood at the back of the garage where the window was blocked off. So this is the entire length of the garage. Now, every car that I've got parked outside at the moment will fit in here apart from one, and that's the Hilux. Now, the Hilux Surf won't fit in here purely because it's got a 4-inch body lift on it, so it's actually too high to get it through the doorway. The doorway is too low for it to come through the doorway. So I've even looked at the possibility of letting all the air out of the tyres, and if I let all the air out of the tyres, it's still going to be too much of a squeeze to bring it in, because the roof's going to rub against the frame, and obviously it'll do some damage to the roof or maybe break the windscreen. I don't want that to happen. So whatever I do with the Hilux, that is just going to be a nice weather job to work on that outside, because it won't fit in here. It doesn't need an awful lot, I don't think. I hope, fingers crossed, it doesn't need an awful lot. But that's the only car that won't fit in here. Everything else I own, no matter how big, how long, how wide, will fit straight in here. I'm so excited about this. I've worked over the last couple of years to get it all done. It has taken longer than it should have done, because obviously interspersed with fixing the roof on the garage and getting it else sorted out, I have still been working on cars outdoors. I have still been going to car shows. I've been going to events. I've been driving around enjoying myself, as you do when you have cars to play with. So this year, I want to make a start by deliberately ignoring any of the work that needs doing on the cars and ignoring the first few car shows of the summer season, because I wanted to get the garage finished. I wanted to get something in here so I can make more content for you guys, so I can make better content for you guys, and you can enjoy it more. And that is exactly what's going to happen. I think the first car that's going to come in here is going to be the Charger, mostly because it's parked directly outside the garage door outside, but because I want to get it in here to protect its roof surface, because obviously it's the hole in the vinyl roof since the panels originally blew off the roof of the garage. Is the garage done? Yes. Is it just for now? Yes, because there's so much more that needs to do. I need to sort out all the shelves, see what's on those, get rid of more rubbish that's on there that I haven't used in God knows how long, or I don't need. I need to sort out the workbench over there, so I've actually got a workbench I can use, check the surface and make sure the surface of the bench is okay. And obviously I need to go through all the tools that are sitting around that aren't in toolboxes or aren't in storage. And I'd also like to put, or I'm going to need to put, some boxes on some storage shelves up, or some boxes on the wall to put little bits and pieces in, because I've even seen in a couple of previous videos that I did, I dropped one of the little miniature drawer sets of boxes I have, and it shattered all over the floor, so I'm now at a loss for storage space for those particular items that are in there. So I've got that to go through. So as time progresses, I'll probably do less and less videos that are long, that are really long with regards to the garage. It'll probably just be update videos saying, you know, this is what the walls look like now. This is the shelves. You know, I've got the shelves up. I've got the boxes up. But there will still be garage content coming, because although it's done as far as getting a car in here and working on a car in here is concerned, it's not done for what I want it to be. Behind this window that's currently blocked off with, well, steel shelves, they are really, they're welded into place. But behind that window and behind that bit of wall there, there's a shed. And what I want to do is knock this out. Now I just want to take that window out, and I want to take that bit of wall out, between that support there and that support there. I want to take that whole section of wall out, take that window out, and have a walkway directly from the garage through into the shed. This shed. Now, as you've seen in a couple of the previous videos, that shed is now sorted out pretty much and full of stuff that was in here that didn't need to be in here. There's a lot of stuff in the shed that will be disappearing. I've got wheels in there that I don't need anymore. The wheels from the Mondeo that were in here are now in there. Photographs of them have been taken so I can get those up and get those advertised for sale. My sandblasting cabinet that was in here, that's now in there. That needs setting up. My press that was in here over in that corner, that's in there now. That needs setting up so I can use that. There's a whole load of car spares in there that aren't required anymore, so they can either be disposed of if they're broken or damaged in any way, or they can be sold on. So people that have a model of one of those cars can actually use those to keep their car going and keep their car on the road. There's so much to do. What I want to do is to have this garage for putting the cars in and working on the cars, and maybe when it's connected or even before it's connected, use the shed as kind of a workshop where I'll be like, you know, cleaning things, tinkering with things and putting things back together once they're taken apart and cleaned and stuff like that. So I'm going to have the best of both worlds at the minute, and then hopefully at some point in the not too distant future, which I doubt very much will be this year, but some point in the not too distant future, I'll join the shed to the garage and I'll have one long area where I can have one car parked and I can just wander through, get the bits I need, come back through and put them on the car and get the car sorted. I've always wanted a garage. All the years I've lived in other houses and other places, I've never had a garage. I've always had to work on the street. And then when I bought this house, complete with the garage, because it was just a garage in a wooden shed at the back by then, which was rotten when I moved in. But when I first got this, it was like I finally got a garage. So I put a car in, and then of course life happens, and the garage was full of, well, stuff that should have been in the house is what the garage was full of. And then all that was moved out at some point a few years ago. That all got disposed of. And then obviously I had a small leak in that corner of the garage. I thought it was just maybe a hole in the roof, but it turned out to be a lot worse than that, as you found out if you followed any of this garage build. So I guess then all remains for me to say is welcome to 00 Garage, finally, where hopefully you'll find a load of entertainment that you'll actually enjoy. Obviously there's loads of links in the description of other ways you can help support me and the channel if you wish to. But a huge thank you to everyone who watches, subscribes or joins as a member. It's absolutely fantastic to have you here, and I do really appreciate all of you. I am going to try and be a bit more active on the Facebook page for the channel. I haven't been too active on there at all. I think other people are more active on there than I am at the minute. For now though, I've got a huge mess outside in the garden that I need to take care of and get rid of all the bits and pieces of rubbish that were in here that I no longer need. So I've got to go and get on with that. In the meantime though, thanks again for watching. Really do appreciate all your support, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.